Hi everyone, this is Paul here again. I haven't yet run a full test on video with just a single unit, so I thought I'd do a quick demo of loading it up, and we're going to run a steaming cycle with a nice big hay net. So we have one hay net full of nice unsteamed hay, a mix of last year's and this year's crop actually, and we're going to pop it into our steamer. Now, I've loaded this very heavily because I want to do a nice thorough test. So that is definitely half a bale of dry hay has gone in there. And let's just quickly check the camera so you make sure we can see everything else we have. Brilliant. So the other ingredients we have for this particular experiment are our steamer. That is not quite full. I don't need all of the water in this, and we'll see how much is left at the end. So if I have a quick look, in fact I'm going to mark it with a pen. Scientific method here. That way I can measure how much water we've used and how much power. Last of all, I'm going to place a timer which hopefully has enough battery to last the period, and we'll get that so it's visible in the camera as soon as I start the steaming cycle. So next thing I need to do is to go and put some temperature sensors in here. Right, I'm going to use 3 temperature sensors, and I'm going to place them evenly throughout the body of my hay bale. So I'm going to place T1 is going smack into the middle of the mass. T2. Now if we look down here, my steam element is running this way. So I'm going to pop it across here because I would expect my coolest part of my steam, of my hay, to be over here. And likewise I'm going to put just again in the center. Now I expect steam to rise, so the top half is going to be a little warmer than the bottom. So I'm going to put my sensors a little lower, so it gets me the center of mass. Let's make sure this thing is measuring. So it's a relative nice warm day today. You'll be able to see this, oh the excitement, as we go through the cycle. So I'll hang this here. So I'm just going to put my lid on. Let that hang down. And use my clamps to clamp the lid down, and we are going to be good to go. This will go to sleep every now and then. In fact, reset. Right, I'm going to turn on the steam now at the wall. That's going to take 10 minutes to warm up, so you can imagine I'm going to do some time lapse action on this, but I do want to make sure you can see this. So let's see if you can see this timer. Brilliant, you can. Right, it's a Sunday, so I've got other things to do. So I'm going to go and let this run. I'm going to let this warm up. You can hear it going. So I will check back with you in about 10 minutes when this should be heated up and starting to generate steam. Back soon. All right, we're at the 20-minute mark, and as we can see, we are starting to see some action in the steamer. We're punting up to 80-90 degrees quite quickly up one side, so we can see that the steam has found its way around one side of the hay first, is soaked into that area first. So one of the key things with hay steaming is that depending on the way slices are arranged, and the density of the hay itself, and this one was pretty tightly packed, you can't predict which way it's going to go. So during the first few minutes of steaming, the steam is basically soaking its way through dry hay. Now dry hay is a very good insulator, so until it actually wets, we're not going to see a lot of action on the temperature gauge. So we'll start to see some of these catch up exceedingly quickly once the hay has actually soaked through. But until then, it looks like it's all happening on one side. So let's watch what happens. Okay, we're at the 30-minute mark, or a bit after it. We can start seeing some movement on the other temperature gauges. So we can see how that has actually that's actually unusually hot. You don't often see it beat 102 degrees. But essentially, the steam has flowed up one side of the hay net, possibly due to the fact that there's a great big slice in there, which is very dense. So it's probably found that and has moved up it, or moved around it. And now it's starting to move through the rest of the mass. So what we should see is the temperature climb very, very strongly in those other areas. And what this illustrates is why in experimentation in large bins, wheelie bins, and any of the square-shaped large full bale structures, unless you have something which distributes the steam evenly, for example the spikes with some of the professional designs, you can leave out whole chunks of your hay bale, don't get steamed or do not get anywhere near the requisite temperature, because the moisture doesn't have time to propagate through the hay. And that's what we found. That's why with the smaller containers we're able to get an even steam throughout the entire mass every time. Okay, we're at the 35-minute mark. We have broken the 90 degrees Celsius barrier across all three sensors, so that's across the mass. We have exceeded our target temperature, and so we're quite confident the entire mass is above 90 degrees. So we want this to steam for 10 minutes, So I'm going to break it at 45 minutes, which is about what we expected. So at the end of 45 minutes, we're steamed, and we'll see how much water we've got left in our steamer. All right, we're at the 45-minute mark, and we've been running at above 90 degrees, actually above 100 degrees for a lot of the mass in here. So we've done the job. We've reduced the bacterial load and the fungal spores as far as we can, as far as we're likely to be able to do so, and done as good a job as any other hay steamer can possibly do on the market. We do recommend running for 60 minutes. So set your timer when you're running a single unit for 60 minutes, and when you're running 2 steamers for 90 minutes. That gives everything plenty of time to soak through and get up to temperature.